How's it going, my bakers? I hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be making cold fermented focaccia. So let's go to the kitchen and check it out. I recently made a video about the principles of cold bulk fermentation, and focaccia was one of the recipes I demonstrated. It was so good that I just had to make a dedicated video about it. If you are new to cold bulk fermentation, then I highly suggest checking out that video. The basic gist of it is that you make the dough, you ferment it overnight in the fridge, then you bake it the next day. A long and slow fermentation builds a lot of flavor, and it is super convenient because you don't have to look after the dough as it's fermenting. You can leave it in the fridge for 18 hours, 24 hours, even 36 hours. Perfect for those weekday bakes. So let's get right to it and see what exactly we need to make this delicious focaccia. You'll need a tray for baking. The size doesn't really matter, as long as it's not very small. This is a very good quality pan by Lloyd's Pans. And if you're curious, you can find this in my Amazon shop, link down below. We'll also need a bowl, scales, a dough scraper and a temperature probe. As for the ingredients, we need some white bread flour, whole wheat flour, salt, yeast, olive oil and water. The toppings of course are totally up to you, but I will show you exactly what I used and how to prepare it. We have some roasted peppers, pesto and roasted garlic. And yes, this focaccia will be quite garlicky, so if you love garlic, then this one's definitely for you. So let's start with the peppers. All you need is 2 bell peppers, any color you like. Red, orange, yellow, green. Just chop them in big chunks like this. You could also prepare some red onions or courgettes in the same way. Give the vegetables a good glug of olive oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Make sure your oven is preheated to 220 degrees Celsius, and that's 430 Fahrenheit. These need to be cooked at a high temperature to get some good color on them, and a high temperature bake will also prevent them from getting soggy. Once you mix everything up, pop these bad boys in the oven. They'll take around 20 minutes. And once they're nicely browned all over, they're ready. Now drop them in a bowl and leave them to cool down. And you can prepare them at any time. I made them before I made the dough, and I left them in the fridge overnight. Now moving on to the roasted garlic. I love this method because it's so easy. You take a whole bulb of garlic and cut the top off of it. Just make sure you don't cut off the wrong end, because if you cut off the other end, it'll just fall apart and make your life harder. Place the garlic on a piece of foil, add a few drops of olive oil and a pinch of salt. Wrap it all up and bang it in the oven. This will require a lower temperature and a longer time, and that is 160 degrees Celsius or 320 Fahrenheit for 1 hour. Whilst that's baking, let's make the pesto. I'm using a pestle and mortar, but you could use a food processor. I got 1 clove of garlic and a handful of basil. Mash it up until it's nice and fine. You could actually use some of the roasted garlic, but I like it quite garlicky, so I used raw garlic. Now in goes some parmesan and a bit of olive oil. Now pesto would also contain pine nuts, but I didn't have any, and that's totally fine, still works. Now you may have noticed that I didn't add any salt. That's because the parmesan is quite salty by itself. But taste it, see what it's like for you. Maybe you'll need a little pinch in there. If you're gonna make this in a food processor, don't blitz it for too long. If the basil warms up too much, the pesto will become brown. Now it can join the peppers in the fridge. And here's our garlic. You can just see how soft it is. And it has browned beautifully. This long slow baking has brought out a lot of sweetness. And we got rid of that harsh garlic flavor. You know it's fully baked when you could just squeeze the cloves and they pop right out. Trust me, once you've tried this, you'll be making roasted garlic on a weekly basis. This stuff is amazing. It can go into dressings, sauces, you could use it in some hummus perhaps. You could even eat the cloves just like that. Okay, so that's my toppings done. Now we can move on to the dough. I'm using cold water because as we're kneading, the dough is going to warm up. And if it gets too warm, it can over ferment in the fridge. And if you are new to temperature control, check out my video on that in the Principles of Baking playlist. Right, so grab a large bowl, add the water, the yeast and the salt, and then give it a quick mix to dissolve the salt and hydrate the yeast. We will not be mixing the oil directly into the dough. I will show you a method that I sometimes like to use. For now, just continue by adding the whole wheat flour and the white flour, then grab your scraper and mix it to a dough. Mix it in the bowl until there's no more dry flour left, and then drop it out on the table. We will be kneading this dough with the slap and fold kneading method. It is a stretchy and sticky dough, and the slap and fold is the best way to go. To perform the slap and fold technique, pick the dough up by one side, stretch it against the table towards yourself and fold it over forwards. And repeat. I do have a whole video about hand kneading bread dough, and you can find that too in the Principles of Baking playlist. Now we want to keep kneading this dough for around 6 minutes, it doesn't take that long. Once you are done, make sure to handle the dough with wet hands. This will make your life a lot easier. Okay, so we are ready to start chilling this dough down. First, pour the oil in the bowl, and then place the dough into the oil. And then roll it around, make sure the whole surface is covered. We will be folding this oil into the dough. So even before this goes in the fridge, you can give it a light fold. If you would add this oil from the beginning to the dough, it would be very difficult to knead it, and it would take a lot longer. But since we have to fold this dough anyway as it's cooling down in the fridge, we might as well simplify our life and fold the oil in. Now cover your dough up and put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. During this time, the dough will cool down and the gluten will relax. 30 minutes later, we can take it out and give it its first fold. Grab an edge, fold it over the middle, and go around in a circle until you reach point where you started. Now we can cover the dough back up and put it in the fridge for another 30 minutes of chilling. Folding achieves a couple of things here. The oil will get absorbed into the dough. The temperature of the dough will be equalized, as the colder surface gets folded into the middle. And finally, strength is being built. As we fold the dough, we get more tension, which are all great benefits. Now here I'm doing the second fold, which is pretty much the same as the first one. Now we'll cover this dough up, cool it down for another 30 minutes, and then we'll perform the final fold. If I was fermenting this at room temperature, I would still be giving it 3 folds. Here's another method where you can also do is pick the dough up, then roll the sides down and push them up into the middle. Just don't go too crazy, otherwise it will tear. Okay, now we are ready to leave this in the fridge for the cold bulk fermentation. Ideally you can leave this in for about 18 to 24 hours, but it could stay in the fridge for up to 36 hours. And look at that, on the next day it's puffed up beautifully. Now it's worth noting that my fridge is around 6 degrees Celsius or 43 degrees Fahrenheit. If your fridge is cooler, it may take your dough longer to rise. But anyway, once you pull it out of the fridge, shape it into a tight ball. Just as I demonstrated earlier, push the sides down and up into the middle. The amount of olive oil that you use is totally up to you. I like it quite rich. And I'm not even finished yet. There will be more. Now after I placed my dough in the tin, I decided to reshape it. Just make it a little bit tighter, a little bit rounder, and hide that hole in the surface. Now this is ready for the final proof, which should take around 3 hours. If your kitchen is cooler, it may take longer. If it's warmer, it'll take less time. During the final hour of fermentation, preheat your oven to 230 degrees Celsius fan off, and that is 445 degrees Fahrenheit. And just look at that dough, it's puffed up beautifully. It is so wobbly and light, I love it. Now generously cover it with the toppings. Always like to lay the toppings on first, without pressing them in. Make sure they are spread out nice and evenly. And of course if you're me, add a little bit more olive oil. And a good pinch of sea salt will go a long way as well. And the final thing to do before baking is just to poke the toppings into the dough. And don't be gentle here, just press them right down to the tin. If you don't, they may just pop out and burn as they bake. And this looks about right, so let's pop this bad boy in the oven, and it will only take around 20 minutes. Once it's puffed up and beautifully golden brown all over, it's ready. Now if the toppings do pop out, what you can do is just simply poke them back into the loaf. If you're gonna be using your fingers like I do, just expect to burn yourself. It's probably best to let this cool down a little bit. Saying that, I enjoy my focaccia a little bit warm. I think it is best when it's fresh from the oven. But of course it will stay nice and soft even when you cool it down. But there you have it. That's how you make a cold fermented focaccia. It is super easy and super convenient. And the result is absolute deliciousness. And the best part is its customizability. You can top this with whatever you like. You could even make this into a deep pan pizza. But I'll leave those experiments up to you. So what do you think of this recipe? What do you think of the cold fermentation method? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this one, click over here, subscribe to the channel, click right here. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.